Trump wants to bring companies back into America. He wants these factories that major companies, U.S. companies, have set up overseas. He wants them to come back into the United States, rebuild their factories here to create new jobs. Well, those jobs are going to be manufacturing jobs. And manufacturing jobs are traditionally the lowest paying jobs because the service industry is where the money is at. And as technology moves forward, there's more and more service industry jobs than there are manufacturing. First of all the major companies are not going to suddenly shut down factories around the world and come back here to the United States and build factories here because they're going to have to hire a ton of workers for manufacturing jobs. They're the lowest paying jobs. That's why they're overseas. And nobody's going to want to work those jobs. I mean, some people will, but wages are going to go down for many people if this happens. So even if Trump got his wish, it wouldn't work.
America may never be able to compete with some countries on manufacturing jobs due to the huge difference in labor costs. Countries like China offer substantially lower wages, allowing manufacturers to produce goods at a fraction of the cost compared to the US. But Trump is pushing full steam ahead on tariff measures he says will fix trade imbalances. Trump aims to reverse what he considers decades of failed globalization and to make the US less dependent on foreign countries. Tariffs have become the centerpiece of Trump's economic and foreign policy agenda, and while economists seem doubtful of the effects tariffs will have on the US, Trump has emphasized a need to level the playing field for American workers.
He's just so wrong on this. It's, the service industry is where it's at. Website developers, content creators, software engineers and developers. These are the types of jobs right now that are making the money and making more money every year. So you're kind of on an upward trajectory. The manufacturing jobs are just the worst jobs. Nobody wants to do them. It's the same thing like our agriculture, where people are like, okay, so deport all of the undocumented workers, and who's going to pick our crops? Not people in the United States. They're just not. They're the lowest paying jobs. They're extremely hard labor. And if Trump got his wish and you snapped your fingers and all those workers are gone tomorrow, who's going to take those jobs? No one. Manufacturing jobs are the same thing. He is going so far off course that it's going to blow up in his face because he is so ill-informed, and maybe he just doesn't listen to anyone around him. But his plan to bring jobs back to America this way, meanwhile, he's firing thousands and thousands of people every day. And I don't care if they're government jobs, they're jobs.
Factory work was once the backbone of the American economy, helping build everything from cars to electronics. These jobs were often seen as a ticket to the middle class. Workers could spend decades at a single plant, often with union protections and benefits. But in the 21st century, the narrative has shifted. Even as manufacturers report labor shortages and rising demand, factory jobs have lost their appeal to many American workers. Today, the younger generation, especially Gen Z, tend to prioritize the so-called work-life balance. Critics contend that the tariff strategy acts as a hidden tax on American consumers and businesses, raising the price of imported goods and materials. Studies have found that much of the economic burden of the tariffs fall on U.S. companies and families rather than foreign producers. Trump has emphasized a need to level the playing field for American workers, portraying tariffs as a tool to combat unfair trade practices and revive domestic manufacturing.
Mr. President, thank you. You've said it could take 2 years to get American manufacturing fully up to speed in response to these tariffs. What happens in the meantime? Should Americans be prepared potentially for years?
Yeah, I'll tell you what happens. We have now $7 trillion. Think of this, $7 trillion. Of commitments from companies wanting to go in, from Apple to many, many companies.
But that takes time.
Many from Taiwan. What?
It takes time to
Of course it takes time. Well, are you asking me a question or are you telling me? Yeah, it takes time. You got to build a thing called a factory. You have to build your energy. You have to do a lot of things. I'm giving them energy. We're going to let them build their own power plants. They'll be their own, essentially, they're going to be in charge of the power plant because our power is not reliable enough. You have a grid that's old and susceptible to a lot of things, including bombing and weather and a lot of other things. And we're going to give them record timing in terms of approvals of electric plants. Most of them want to build electric plants. We need massive amounts of electricity if we're going to compete with China and others. And interestingly, we're way ahead right now in the AI race with China. But the way we lose that race is if we can't give them electric. But we have more plants being built. We have everything. We're doing so great. And we want to keep it that way. And tariffs will be an important part of it. But one of the other things, Lee Zeldin's doing a fantastic job, head of environmental protection. And he's doing very rapid approvals for people to get, for big companies that are going to build a plant that's going to cost billions of dollars. And we're going to get them their approvals. They have to be environmentally perfect, everything good, but they're going to be in record time, a matter of months versus a matter of many, many years.
Trump's push to move tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs to the U.S. is raising concerns as the cost for many American goods is soaring, and economists are expressing doubts about the long-term viability of this strategy. By imposing tariffs on foreign goods, Trump aims to reduce the incentive for companies to move operations overseas and to encourage domestic production. Countries that have specialized in manufacturing for decades have built deeply integrated networks of suppliers and skilled labor. China has entire regions dedicated to electronics or textiles, making it easier and cheaper to source components and scale production quickly. While America has world-class infrastructure in certain areas, its manufacturing hubs have declined or shifted focus, making it harder to compete with the coordinated workforce of companies in other countries. The entire luxury market is dealing with the repercussions of these tariffs. When Trump visited a factory in Texas that would make designer handbags for one of the world's best-known luxury brands, it was meant to represent the successful return of factories to the US. But since the high-profile opening, the factory has faced many problems limiting production. The site has consistently ranked among the worst performing for Louis Vuitton globally, significantly underperforming other facilities. On top of that, LVMH has faced criticism over the treatment and compensation of its factory workers. Hundreds staged walkouts in France for what the workers called slave wages and unfavorable changes to working hours. In Italy, an LVMH subsidiary producing handbags for Dior was placed under court administration after investigations revealed that subcontractors exploited workers, including undocumented immigrants. These workers face poor conditions and long hours, with safety devices removed from machinery to cut costs. American workers generally earn much higher wages and receive more comprehensive benefits, which raises the overall cost of production. In contrast, some countries with booming manufacturing sectors may have looser regulations or less stringent enforcement. While consumers have benefited from lower prices, many workers have seen their jobs relocated overseas or eliminated entirely. But public trust in foreign-made products has declined, especially in areas tied to health and safety. Consumer demand for American-made goods is growing, and Trump has reinforced this trend with updated Buy American rules, creating a demand for US-made products. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications.